We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani. Good to have you here with us this morning. It is Monday morning, which means that we're coming off of a weekend. How was your weekend? I know our weekend was phenomenal. We did our last chance weekend, and boy, oh boy, oh boy. Whew, the stories, the transformation. Every single time we do it, we are amazed because it's always uniquely different to be a part of people's stories of transformation, of restoration. I tell you, it gets us every single time. There are tearjerkers in their story. And just to see where they come in day one and where they leave is just an amazing journey. We'll be sharing more about that in the days to come. That's why we're starting a couple minutes late. You know, it's a big weekend. It takes a lot out of us, so we just need time to regroup. But I'm glad to have you all with us here this morning. So wherever you're dialing in from around the world, we want to know who you are. So just give us your name, your city, your state, your country. We would love to represent you. We're starting a brand new series, guys, a brand new series. And this series is about intimacy anorexia. This is by request of one of our Moving Forward members, and we thought it was a necessary topic to really take our time and unpack because it's something that many people are experiencing, but may have never heard of the term. Or they know what it is, but they don't know the root causes. Or they may know the root causes, but they don't know how to overcome it. And so this is a series you definitely want to sit down with your partner. And I think a lot of times when people have experienced any type of trauma or betrayal or major crisis in a relationship, they can experience this intimacy anorexia. Remember, we talk about intimacy. We're going to give you a comprehensive understanding of what that means and how it manifests in a relationship. But this is one of the things that is often lost, right? How, you know, you've heard me say 1,001 times how as couples oftentimes we go from being soulmates to role mates to roommates, and then we slip into the abyss where we feel like we're cellmates trapped in a narrow prison. That is because there's been a disconnect of intimacy. And when this disconnection happens, it creates a wedge and a gap and a breach in the relationship. It creates a vulnerability in the relationship. And so in these spaces, it can lead to a higher possibility of divorce, infidelity, so on and so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about how to put all these pieces back together again, how to seal the gaps, how to begin to rebuild, restore, rejuvenate, right? The relationship to get it to the place that it once was, or to get it to a place that it's never been. Maybe you never really had that connection from the beginning. And you're looking at past relationships and what's missing in this relationship. There's so many incalculable contributing factors as to why couples wind up in the places and spaces that they're in. So, we have to figure out how to begin to do things. Anyway, what we want to do is, for those of you who are in high anticipation of the next Last Chance weekend, we just want to take you to a quick video because some of you are actually watching this for the first time. We'll go there right quick and then we'll dive into today's topic. Stay right there, be right back. Hey guys, hope all is well. Listen, I got a comment from someone on Facebook saying that there's too much echo in the audio, but Instagram says that the echo is fine, or there is no echo, the sound is fine. So just we want to do a test. If you're experiencing challenges, just put it in the chat. If it's good, just say it's good. All right, we always want to make sure that your experience is what it needs to be. Let's get into this topic, guys. Before we can talk about intimacy anorexia, let's give you an understanding of what anorexia actually is. Okay, anorexia is the primary eating disorder associated with food restriction and self-starvation. It can be very dangerous, even lethal, if not treated, right? And so there's these 4 areas that I want to dive into. Anorexics are individuals who refuse to maintain body weight at or above a normal weight for their age and height. They experience intense fear of gaining weight or becoming fat, even though they are underweight. They misunderstand the seriousness of their weight loss, and they, particularly females, experience the absence of at least 3 consecutive menstrual cycles if they have already started having periods and are not pregnant. These are some of the challenges psychologically, emotionally, and physically that anorexics have because of that particular disorder. Now, depending upon who you talk to, some will say it's a mental disorder, they have no control of it. Some will say they're making the choice to starve themselves out because of self-image issues. I'm not here to get into that debate, but there has been a doctor who has come up with a term called intimacy anorexia or emotional anorexia. But just to give you a visual of what an anorexic person looks like, here it is. Now, there's nothing healthy about her weight. You can see that she is skin and bones, right? Now, when you take this and put this in the context of a relationship that's starved out, that's depleted of its nutrients, that is starving for what it does not have. Do you get the visual image? So when we're talking about intimacy anorexia is a relational dynamic where one or both partners actively withhold emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and sexual intimacy from their partner. Okay, now what we're going to talk about today are the signs or the characteristics of this type of anorexia because it's something that people typically do experience. And so we just want to kind of break this down today. We're going to take our time with this because we want to make sure that you have a comprehensive understanding. And then we want to know, does this align with where you see yourself in your relationship? So some of the characteristics, let's go to these. Number 1, keep themselves busy with childcare, household tasks, errands, technology, or work. Now, this is the busy bee, right? Too busy to sit down, too busy to relax, always are in something, always are jumping to the next project. You know, there are people who are always working. Hey, I can't tonight. I got this assignment, this project I got to work on. Or, yeah, I got a meeting I got to go to. Or, yeah, I got to travel out of town. It's like they're living a life of avoidance. There's a deeper issue as to why they are not connecting and spending quality time with their spouse. And they're using their busyness, right, as a justification to get away. Meanwhile, the other spouse is left feeling abandoned and rejected. And it really creates an internal turmoil in that particular relationship. There are some people who never ever had this level of intimacy that they so desire and seek because of this busyness. The dishes are dirty. I gotta clean this. I gotta vacuum. I gotta make sure that the kids are taken care of. They're just always trying to avoid because there's a deeper issue which they are not getting to yet. And so in our book, The Audacity of Marriage, and if you don't have a copy, go on Amazon and get your copy today. The Audacity of Marriage, 10 Principles to Lifelong Partnership. Now, in that book, there's a chapter that is entitled How to Have a Time-Rich Marriage, because many people are starved of time in their relationship because of this busyness. And so as a result of it, it creates a breach or a break in the system. All right? And so let's go to the next one, guys. Blame you for the loss of intimacy rather than explore potential partners or patterns, in their own behavior. And so these are the blame shifts, right? Even though I know it's my issue and I fear intimacy or I don't want intimacy for a number of reasons, I will then project my issue on you and make you the blame. You're the culprit. You're the reason why. It's how you're not showing up, right? And this is the psychological warfare that oftentimes people engage in that makes a person feel like they're crazy. Like, is something wrong with me? Am I missing something? Because the facts are the facts, but you won't even acknowledge the facts. And the facts, the reality that you deny the fact makes me feel like I'm going crazy. And because their partner is so convincing, they begin to believe their partner's narrative rather than the facts that have proven themselves to be true. And so, once again, a person who struggles with emotional anorexia or intimacy anorexia will push blame on the other person rather than taking the responsibility for their lack of contribution to the emotionality in the relationship. Let's go to the next. They avoid showing love in ways that they know you appreciate. So listen, I love physical touch. I love to be touched. I love hugs. I love kisses. I love cuddling up. And you know this, yet you deny me. You reject me. You refuse to give me what it is that I have a craving and a desire for. It's not just a want of mine, it is a need of mine. Just like food, water, clothing, and shelter are needs for survival, there are emotional needs that I have in this relationship, and you have not been meeting them. I have a need for connection. I need to talk. We need to have conversations. And every time I attempt to connect with you, you won't open up your mouth. You sit there like a deaf mute and you say and do nothing. And I feel starved of the intimacy that I need. And now it creates a problem in this relationship, because if I can't get this need met from you, I feel like I'm being forced out, forced to do things that I don't want to do because I don't have this connection. Guys, we're talking about intimacy. Intimacy is the most important element in a relationship if it's going to work. Guys, I hope you, listen, we're just getting started. We're just scratching the surface. In the meantime, grab a pad and a pen and take some notes, because we're about to go deeper on the other side of this break. Stay right there. Couples Academy is expanding its team to meet the growing demand of people in need of help around the world. So if you're a trained, licensed, or certified expert in marriage enrichment, infidelity recovery, sex therapy, life coaching, cognitive behavioral therapy, divorce mediation, financial coaching, or family therapy, contact us today. Hey guys, we're back. Thank you for giving me that audio check-in. You can hear the typing, you can hear me chewing, you can hear it all. Well, we're glad that you can hear. Listen, we just want to say good morning to the family. Too many of you to acknowledge, but you know who you is. You know where you at. And so we appreciate you this morning too. So to Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, to all of the connecting communities, glad to have you here. There's some great announcements that we can't make to wait. can't wait to make. See how I'm all tongue twisted? That's how excited I am about what we're going to share with you, probably towards the end of the week. But we're talking about intimacy anorexia. So far, do any of these things align with what you're experiencing in your relationship? If so, it's an indication that you may be right in the thick of it. All right, we're going to go to the next one. Number 4, you stop complimenting or praising your spouse regularly, or they stop complimenting or praising you. And so this is a real deal, because one of the love languages, words of affirmation. But even if it's not your love language, like, it doesn't even have to be your love language. It's just like, when I leave this home, I'm celebrated. People acknowledge me for who I am. People compliment me because of my skill or my talent or my gifting or my personality or what energy and life I bring to a situation. And then I come home and I get nothing from you. It's like mum's the word. You don't acknowledge anything. You don't even, I just got this new outfit. I'm feeling good. My hair, my makeup, my cologne, whatever, everything's right. I get compliments when I get out in the street, but you say absolutely nothing. You look at me and you walk away as if you didn't see anything. And it's just frustration. I feel like this relationship is just dry bones. Like, why won't you form your lips to say something? Because you've admitted when we've had deep conversation that you often think it, but you don't say it. And it's just like, why don't you say it? What is the internal resistance that keeps you from saying, you look nice today, babe? That was a great meal today, babe. Thank you for what you've done. Like, why is that so difficult? Why is communication your major struggle, where your mind bone's not connected to your mouth bone and you won't say what you know that I need? Because if I'm not getting it from you and I'm starving for words, I'm starving for affection, I'm starving here, it's really, at some point, it's intentional. Like you're doing damage to me, or if I'm the one, I'm doing damage to you. And I think that we don't really understand that, once again, it is a need. And when you said I do, you were signing up for a responsibility to your spouse. It is your responsibility to help your spouse become the best person that they could be, not pull the worst out of them. It is your responsibility to draw them closer to God, not pull them further away. It is your responsibility to help them accomplish their goals, not strip them of it. It is your responsibility to bring happiness and joy and love into their life as best you can. And if they've shared with you what only you can do because you're in a covenant relationship, and if you don't want them seeking things out from other people, then you have a responsibility to show up in that relationship in a particular way. And when you both fulfill that responsibility, guess what? You both win. But when you get caught up in your head and you begin to justify and rationalize and compartmentalize and come up with all these reasons and excuses why you can't, why you won't, then guess what? Your relationship is going to pay the price. And that's the problem that too many people find themselves in. All right, let's go to the next one. You have little to no interest in physical intimacy. Now, when we say physical intimacy, it's not just sexual intimacy, but physical closeness. Like, I'm on one end of the couch, you're on another. You don't like to kiss, so everything's a pucker and you move on about your business. Like, what? Like, that's something I get from my child. That's something that a person in church will do to greet me, But when it comes to our relationship, what is the problem? Why don't we have physical affection? Like, I'm in the kitchen, you're in the kitchen, we're creating distance between us so that we don't touch at all. It's just like, let's back up. We're in a bedroom. We make sure that even though we're in a double bed, it feels like a California king, because we're putting blankets and sheets and pillows between us because we don't want any type of touch. Like, what's really going on? We'll get to the root causes, but what we're doing is just identifying characteristics and behaviors that may give you an indication that there is an intimacy anorexia in your relationship. Let's go to the next one. You show little interest in connecting on a spiritual level, which could look like not wanting to attend church or pray together. This is a huge one, folks. A huge one. Typically, people start off going to church together, praying together, worshiping together. It is a form of intimacy. It develops a level of closeness in a relationship. But because of whatever, People just stop doing it. I don't have an interest. You go, I'm going to stay here. And it's just like, now I have to do faith alone. I got to do church alone. I got to have these religious traditions that we used to share amongst the two of us that really became a foundation for our relationship. And now I got to do it alone. I ask you to pray. You don't want to pray with me. I ask, could we read the word together? You don't want to do it. We used to do couples devotions. Now we don't do it anymore. And now there's this breach, right? And faith is huge, guys. When you've lost your faith connection, something happens in that relationship, because pretty much everything we do is a result of our faith. The way we raise our children, right, is drenched, soaked, and saturated in our faith tradition. Oftentimes, the core convictions that we have attached to our faith. For some people, the way that you eat, right, attached to your faith. There's so many things that are tied to your faith. And when that faith connection has been lost, when there's no more spiritual intimacy, that begins the slippery slope to the decline. And so if that's where you find yourself, it's something to really take seriously. Let's go to the next one. Avoid talking about their feelings, making it difficult to connect on an emotional level. So I can look at you and see that something's wrong. And I ask you, babe, what's wrong? Nothing. Obviously something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I could see that you're emotional right now. Yeah, but nothing's wrong. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not talking about it. Stop asking me. Stop bringing it up. I don't want to talk about it. So now I feel like there's this thick wall that has been built up between us. It's just like, going to a door. You're knocking on the front door. You can see the person on the other side of the door. I see you. And I'm knocking and I'm ringing the bell, and I'm knocking and I'm ringing the bell, and you refuse to answer. How painful and hurtful for the person that you will not let in. Like, I just want to be let in. Why are you boxing me out? Why are you distancing yourself from me? I feel alone. I feel abandoned. I feel rejected. This is not the way it's supposed to be. I feel like I am in purgatory, if not hell, in this relationship, because this is not what I signed up for. Not only are you not talking to me, you won't even talk to other people. You're keeping everything to yourself. And now your own imagination and your own mindset and your own emotions are getting the best of you, and you're creating stories and narratives that may not be true. And you're holding on to these beliefs and these distortions and these misinterpretations and all of this stuff because you won't communicate with me. Or maybe it's worse because you communicate with everybody else but me. You talk to your friends, you talk to your colleagues, you talk to your family, you're talking to her or talking to him, but you won't talk to me. I feel boxed out. I'm starving for some type of connection that you will not give me. Let's go to the next one. You treat your spouse like a roommate, not a romantic partner. We talked about how you go from soulmate to roommate to roommate. Roommates have no real relationship. These are individuals who just go half on bills. They go half on utilities. They go half on rent, but they live their own life and they do their own thing. This is what we will call those who are trapped in the builder marital pattern. You go your way, I'm going to go mine. You got your friends, I got mine. You got your passions, I got mine. The only reason why we're here is because of these kids or because of finances or because of circumstances, and we can't do. But listen, we may be married, but we're going to do our own thing and live our own lives and have our own relationships. What a miserable place to be in. How lonely, how isolating. This is the state that people find themselves in when they come to a last chance weekend because they're looking for something different to change their reality. Listen, we got a couple more that we're going to get to on the other side of this break, but we want you to be taking notes. This is the conversation you want to have with your spouse to assess where you are. Listen, got a couple more. Stay right there. Be right back. You're watching the Couples Academy Show. Hey guys, we're back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We're talking about intimacy anorexia, where you feel starved out in your relationship. Now listen, does your relationship look and feel like this? This is a situation, right? Do you feel like you're on death's door? Well, it's time to do something about it. We're talking about the signs. We're talking about the visual descriptors. We're talking about the experiences that people call in every day for, because this is how they feel in their relationship. We want to go to a couple more before we end the show. You put down, they criticize you or try to make you feel bad about yourself. I tell you, this whole criticism, judgmental thing is a major piece. You know, a lot of times you feel literally attacked, bullied, browbeat by your spouse. You can't do anything. Oh, here we go. Don't know what happened. You're watching another view. All right. Here we go. We're back. Challenges, that's what technology does. But have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like, wait a minute, something's just not right? Why is it that all you do is point out every single flaw that I have? You don't acknowledge anything good in me or about me. I just feel beat down, beat up, tossed aside, disrespected. I've lost my sense of self. I question my own validity. My self-esteem and my worth has been plummeted because of your words. These are the individuals who show up as the verbal assassin, and it is a real situation in a relationship. Let's go to another. Have anger outbursts, ignore you or give you the silent treatment, and stay angry over minor issues instead of working through anger productively. This is a real thing. It's just like sometimes these are individuals who look for anything that they can. You burnt my toast 3 days ago, and I'm still pissed about it. You know better. How could you do that? You know that I like my toast light, and then you had the nerve to put cream cheese instead of butter on my toast? Like, what's wrong with you? I don't even know you anymore. You're like an alien to me right now. Like, any little thing that they can come up with that can create discord and dissension, which will cause them to go into their own corner in their own separate space, they will use it as a justification, and it feels like psychological warfare that's happening in this relationship. It is toxic. It is negative. It's horrible. And that's where some of you may find yourself. And it's just like, when did this happen? Was this always here and I just didn't see it? Did I choose to ignore it? Was I hoping that things would get better? Did I have an attitude that I was going to fix him or fix her, and that once I said I do, everything would be all right? Well, now you're faced with the reality of your situation, and you don't know where to do. You don't know where to turn, and that's your reality. Here's the last one. Control money by making you keep track of your purchases, preventing you from accessing funds yourself, or criticizing the amount that you spend. And oftentimes this is where the hypocrisy is, because while he or she is the one spending it up, having a good time, doing what they do, or they put their thumb on you and they want to monitor and control everything that you do. Now, of course, there should be a budget because that's healthy for a relationship. But oftentimes the whole money control makes you feel like a child. Like, I'm a grown woman or man. I do work. I do or should have access to money to buy something every now and then, but I feel pressured and controlled and beat down and told when I can and when I can't and how much, and is my purchase justifiable? I feel like a child, right? Even though I'm 40, 45, 50, my internal age, you make me feel like I'm 8 years old, right? With all of these restrictions. These are examples of the things that we go through that result in emotional and intimate anorexia. This is where we are at, folks. I want you to sit down with your spouse, go through them, make it a checklist, and see where you find yourself. Now, listen, not everybody experiences everything, but according to all of the research, if there are 5 or 6 of these that you're definitely experiencing, it could be an indication that you are in an intimate, emotional, anorexic type of relationship. And so over the next couple of days, we're going to get into the root causes as to why, where it comes from, but then most importantly, how to overcome it. What is the pathway to healing and restoration and to emotional health
in your marriage. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Love you very much. Make sure you share. If you're in need of help, reach out to us at couplesacademy.org. Set up a discovery call and let's get it. Love you. See you tomorrow.